Hey guys, welcome back to Wild West Woodscraft. I'm Trevor, and what I thought I'd show you guys is what a modern woodsman wears out in the woods. This is what I wear. The environment I'm in is the Rocky Mountains. Um, the time of year right now is July, so all the snow is melted at this point except for a few places up high, and it's not getting into below freezing at night anymore, which I really enjoy. Um, so I can bring less gear. I don't have to bring as much clothing. But one issue we do have a lot right now is it rains, and there's a lot of mosquitoes. This year particularly, they're pretty bad. So I thought I'd show you guys what I wear. So starting out with clothing, which your clothing is your first form of shelter. I prefer heavy cotton clothing for my outer durable layer. With as much deadfall that's around, um, with the kinds of woods that we have to burn, they produce a lot of sparks, which melt holes in the technical clothing. So I like durable clothing that will protect me from sharp sticks, from hot embers from the fire, stuff like that, and they'll last a long time. Also, they're pretty cheap. I like Carhartt. Carhartt makes some decent quality for not a lot of money. There's a lot of other brands. I've tried all sorts of different stuff, but one thing I stay away from is any synthetic outerwear because it will melt. And I've burned holes in a lot of outer garments that I spent good money on that only lasted about one season. So I like clothing that will withstand the rigorous environment I'm in. So for outerwear, I have a pair of Carhartt cotton pants, just work pants, and then just this cotton flannel. Um, if I was in a really hot environment, I wouldn't want a flannel. I'd want some more lightweight, maybe like a polyester type shirt, a light cotton linen shirt. But up in the mountains here, it still gets chilly. The wind blows, so I like something that's a little heavier. Plus, I want a tight weave in my pants and shirt because of the mosquitoes. I don't like using a lot of bug spray, plus you can only carry so much, and I want something that if the mosquitoes land on it, they can't bite through it. Some lightweight hiking clothes and technical garments, they'll bite right through. I've had them do it on me. So I like a heavy flannel for an outer layer for a top, and again, it's cotton. It'll last a long time. I like flannels, especially in more of a plaid pattern, because it breaks up my shape. So it kind of acts like a camouflage without wearing a camouflage. I like being able to blend into my environment. I don't want to stand out. Obviously, that's an issue if you get injured and need to signal for rescue, but I have signals in my pack and on me that I can use to signal for rescue if I need to. I far prefer to be able to blend in and kind of disappear into my environment in kind of along the same lines historically as the mountain men, the frontiersmen. They didn't want to stick out, and neither do I. So besides that, just a hat here. This is just a Wazoo cash cap, and there's one of my signals. So inside is this orange, fluorescent orange mesh with reflective striping. So I can use this as a small signal. I can hang this in a tree. I can find it in the day, find it in the night. And in my hat, there's pockets in here that you store gear. I don't keep a lot in it because it gets too bulky. But in the top pocket, I have an individual wet wipe, which can be used for cleaning your hands if you have to use the bathroom and you're caught without your gear. Also, hygiene purposes. And then I keep a Benadryl in there as well. I tend to have some allergic reactions to different plants or like bee stings and stuff, so having a Benadryl is important. Plus, Benadryl works as a good sleep aid, and if I was caught out with just what I had on body and I lost all my other gear for whatever reason, or I had to ditch it, I probably won't be sleeping very good, but sleep's very important. So if I take a Benadryl, it knocks me out. So I want something that can knock me out. So hopefully I can get at least a decent night's sleep in whatever environment I'm in. I haven't found something good that keeps me awake, which I want to find something like that, because vice versa. I might need to stay awake for a long period of time, depending on the scenario. But that's what's in my hat. Nothing fancy. Hat's nice. To be honest, a wide brim hat would probably be better. I'm just not a big fan of them. I prefer baseball caps. But a wide brim hat will keep the sun off you, keep the rain off you. It has a lot more uses. But a baseball cap is good too. And this one is pretty old, pretty faded, has been stained by lots of sweat and lots of bug spray and smoke, and so it's very well used. I don't wear it out into town very often because it doesn't look very nice, but it has a lot of memories behind it. And then as far as footwear goes, I wear, in this case, these are First Light merino wool socks, and I have GoRuck Mac V2s, I believe, as boots. I really like these boots because there is no padding on the inside except for on the sole, which can the insole, which can be removed, but there's no padding, there's no cushion, there's no insulation, which means if they get wet, they'll dry out very quickly. And in the wintertime, I can add insulation to them via more socks. I can add waterproof via like a neoprene sock, but they're not waterproof, they're just leather. I do condition them, but that doesn't make them waterproof. That allows some water to shed off if I accidentally step in a puddle, but they'll soak through very quickly, but they'll also dry out very quickly. They're also incredibly lightweight. They're kind of reminiscent of an old moccasin, except for they have a much better sole on them, so I'm not having to replace them every 3 days, and I'm also not getting stone bruises on my feet. No ankle support, which again builds the strength in your ankle, so I like very minimalist footwear. Preferably leather, it's durable, and you can repair it easier. And then moving up, for underwear, sometimes I'll use, if I'm on longer trips, I'll use a merino wool underwear to help with the odors and comfort. But oftentimes I'm just using a lightweight synthetic underwear. It wicks well, prevents chafing, stuff like that. And then I just usually wear a cotton t-shirt underneath because it's not super cold, and I have better layers inside my pack, that the cotton t-shirt is plenty. Plus it's comfortable, and it helps with cooling because it does sometimes get hot here in the summer. And so it helps with, the moisture will get into it and it'll help with evaporative cooling. Another reason I wear long clothing is the sun. Here in the Rocky Mountains, we're very high in elevation. Usually the areas I'm in, I'm between 9,000 to 10,000 feet, which means I'm a lot closer to the sun, and that means I get sunburn a lot easier. So wearing long clothing means I don't have to carry sunscreen with me. If it's really hot and sunny, I can turn my collar up. There's lots of different methods I can use, but I never carry sunscreen when I'm out in the woods because I have long clothing. It protects me from the environment. Another thing I almost always have on me is just a merino wool neck gaiter, and this can be used. I can put it over my face if the mosquitoes are really bad. This is thin enough they could probably bite through if they wanted to, but it would help. It works as also like a fly swatter. If there's a lot of mosquitoes around, you can get them off you. And this also helps as sun protection. So if I'm on an exposed like ridge line or something, I can put this over my face with the hat on, and it'll protect the back of my neck, my ears, and it helps with a little bit of warmth if I need it to. But being merino wool, it's like cotton. It will hold moisture for longer than synthetic, so I can use it for evaporative cooling. I can get it wet in a stream, in a pond, put it on my neck, and that will help cool me down. But being wool, it also helps keep me warm in the winter. It's antibacterial, so it won't start developing an odor, which is nice because this thing gets used for all sorts of stuff. I use it to get hot pots off the fire. I use it to pre-filter water. I've used it on a cut on my finger. I can just wrap it up. It's a tube of material. It has so many uses. I prefer this over cotton. One advantage of cotton is you can char it to make charred material, but I never do that because I have punk wood. I have all sorts of different things I can char in natural resources. There's no need to cut up your clothing to make charred material. So I really like wool for most things other than my outerwear, just because wool's so expensive. I don't want to compromise the durability. wool is less durable than cotton. So a mixture between cotton and wool is really what I use for clothing both summer and winter. Um, Other than that, as far as clothing, that's all I have on me. A couple tools and stuff that's always on me. And this doesn't change much from when I'm in a urban environment versus a wooded environment out in the mountains. Some things do change, but starting off, I just have a watch here. This is a Winfield watch. I like it. I like the more traditional part of it. It's not anything digital. I have enough screens in my life. I like something that is automatic. And then as far as on body, in my back pocket, I just have a cat tourniquet. Usually I'm working with tools, sharp tools, knives, axes, tomahawks. I prefer cat tourniquets. They're kind of the gold standard. So I keep a cat tourniquet in my back pocket and this little sleeve to preserve it. I have a full med kit in my pack, but I always want a tourniquet on body because most likely when I'm doing stuff, I'm going to injure my extremities. In this pocket, I just have this little Streamlight micro stream, and so this is another signal item. If I need it to be, it also is a good kind of a search flashlight. It's not incredibly bright, but it's brighter than my headlamp that I carry in my pack, and so I use this if I'm, in the dark and I hear some noise or something's just beyond the range of my headlamp. I can use this to see what it is. Also, it again, like I said, a good signal item. It's USB rechargeable, and I have a solar panel in my pack that I can recharge it with. So good flashlight. I don't use it very often around camp because it's very bright and the battery life isn't great on it. It would work in an emergency, like if I lost my pack and I didn't have my headlamp. I would just have to be sparing with it. But I try to limit how much I use light anyways, just because I don't like being dependent on having a light with me. I like being able to work using my natural night vision. So then, let's see. In this pocket, I just have a wallet, and here, besides just my ID and card, normal debit card, I have a Wazoo fire card, and these are pretty cool. They're made out of the same material guitar picks are made out of. At least that's what I've been told. I don't play guitar, but you can scrape it down, and it will light super quickly with a ferro rod. Really, and it'll burn really hot, and this thing will burn for a couple minutes probably. I guess it says on the back, it says 30 seconds of intense burning. But it burns for a good amount of time. I've never needed a full one, but in an emergency, this isn't something that will dry out. It's not like a cotton waxed fire starter. This is something that's waterproof. It won't dry out. It just stays in my wallet, and I always have a fire starter with me as long as I have a way to create spark and just scrape it. And then I just keep some cash in there. Paper money's important. You never know when you might need to buy something that, and you're somewhere that doesn't take a card, especially here in Wyoming. Like, it's not uncommon for places not to accept cards. So having cash on you is a good survival resource, especially in an urban environment. And you can't trace cash money as readily as a card. So that's my wallet, and then on my side here, I have this little Tough Possum Gear pouch, and in here, I have a Bic lighter inside an Exotech fire sleeve, so the button won't get depressed. It's waterproof. So if I were to take a dunk in a creek or a pond or something, I'd have a waterproof, easy way of making fire. And then a couple other things. I have a little bit of paracord. This is just for utility purposes. If I need to bundle some sticks up real quick or drag something, or just there's about 3 to 5 feet of cordage on here. I have a Wazoo water kit. So this has a 1 liter water bag that is heat resistant, so you can boil water in it, and 4 Katadyn water purification tablets. So I can disinfect 4 liters of water, which would be enough to get me through a 24-hour period. Any more than that, and I really don't want to be living out of my pockets. That would be a bad day. Um, but if I were to get lost without my gear, I could disinfect some water, because water is important. You can go, technically you can go 3 days without water, is what everyone says, but I've done 1 day without water and it's miserable. I'd never want to do it, especially if I was working hard. So the ability to gather water, disinfect that water, I can do that thermally using the bag. I can do it with the purification tablets. I can also do it via the via the sun with that clear plastic bag. So that gives me the ability to create water. I can carry water in that bag. It's not ideal, but if I need to, I can. And then I have a half of one of those Wazoo fire cards wrapped with some Gorilla Tape. And so that's another way to start fire. This would be one big giant fire starter if I needed to, because Gorilla Tape burns well. But I also have the Gorilla Tape because it helps. I use it for blisters. You can also use it for so many other uses, gear repair, a quick bandage, stuff like that. But it works great for blisters as well. And again, if I'm living out of what's on my body, I'm probably on the move, and I want to be able to treat blisters. This is something I'm just kind of playing around with. It's a little lockpick kit. I'm not good at it yet, but it's just something I play around with. So that's what I keep in my little belt pouch. I don't like a lot of stuff on my belt. Some people prefer big belt kits and all these pouches and stuff. I don't. I like being able to slim down to pretty minimal. And I know that with my skill level in the environment I'm in, I can sit under a tree for 24 hours. I'm not going to die, especially if it's not winter. So I don't carry a lot of what-if stuff on my belt. Most of it's just kind of utility items that I need as I'm going about my day. But I like operating out of a pack or like a haversack or something and not overloading my body. And then on this side, I just have my belt knife. In this case, it's just my Hobo Forge and GB2 collaboration Master Nav Puko. I really like this because it has a lot of meaning behind it. So that's the knife I've been using. That's what I'm carrying right now. Then I have a Leatherman, what is this, Charge Plus. This has a lot of great tools on it, between fixing a firearm, fixing gear, hygiene with the file for nails, and then there's scissors on it. There's screwdrivers, an eyeglass screwdriver which works to adjust the declination on my compass, pliers, which is useful for getting cactus out, for getting stuff off the fire, can opener if I ever needed a can opener, and then it has a straight edge, a little wood saw, which is useful for making small little notches and stuff. And the back of that wood saw is a 90-degree spine, so I can use that to strike a ferro rod. And then a ceramic or serrated edge. I don't really use the serrated edge much, but it's on there. So I have that, and then I have my cell phone, which is it's another signal item, because I can use that to, it's got a cloud of mosquitoes. I can use that to call for help, assuming I'm in cell service. It's not great. There's here in the Rockies, cell service is very limited. Where I'm at right now, no service. So in that case, it's kind of just a paperweight, other than I have a lot of guides downloaded onto it, so I have a lot of reading material, and keeping your morale up and having information to read in an emergency is useful. I use it for photos. I use it for documentation. It has a flashlight in a worst case scenario if I needed that. Even though I have no cell service, I can still get my GPS grid coordinates off of it. And so when I am doing land nav, oftentimes what I'll do is I'll go out exploring, and then I'll just pull out my phone, get my GPS coordinates, plot that on the map, and then use my protractors and compass to get an azimuth back to where I need to go. So it's nice to have something that will give you your locations, so you're not having to use a lot of location finding techniques that take time and aren't always useful depending on the terrain you're in. So, phone. Let's see, anything else? Around my neck, I have a Wazoo Spark necklace. I really like this. I can sharpen my knives using that ceramic edge. I can strop them using the leather, and it's a fire starter. So paired with that Wazoo um, fire card, I'm able to create a fire. I don't always carry the belt pouch, so I have the ability to make a fire even without the belt pouch. And then the last thing I carry is I have a Glock 19 with a Streamlight flashlight on it. It's not the best for bear defense or wildlife defense. Something in 10mm would be better, but I carry a 9 because that's what I carry every day when I'm around town, and I'm confident with it. I've shot it a lot. I feel like I could make a pretty good defense with it. And with bears and stuff, it's more about preventing it than it is about needing a defense. So I do keep that on me for both bears, and you never, like, there are evil people in the world that you might have to defend yourself from. So I'm always armed, and that's part of the tradition of the woodsmen, the mountain men. They never went anywhere without a gun. And just because it's a modern environment doesn't mean some of those threats still don't exist. It's important to stay armed, be able to defend yourself, be able to defend others, be able to defend your community. So I always have some type of firearm. If I'm hunting, it'll probably be a rifle. In this case, when I'm out just in the woods, I just carry a pistol because it's lightweight, it's easy to carry. And that I have one 15-round magazine in there, and then usually I have another 15-round magazine in my pack, and depending on the environment, depending on where I'm at, it'll either be in my pack or in my pocket. As a modern woodsman here in the Rocky Mountains, a modern mountain man, that's what I carry on my body, the clothing I wear. A lot of it can be traced back to historical roots as far as what guys who were doing this full time for years on end, what they wore, what they carried. It's just modern renditions of that. And so I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. And I will see you guys on the next one.